Steel Curtain Network.
Touchdown! Touchdown para Calvin Austin! El Monte Washington es arma. ¿Quién más? ¿Quién más? DJ Watt!
What is up, Steeler fans? Oh my gosh, I'm so choked up. Welcome to this podcast. I'm Jeff Hartman. Brian Davis is going to be joining me here shortly, and we're going to be talking all about, here he is, there's Brian, talking all about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Reportedly, guess now it's official that they have put out on social media that they have verbally agreed with Mike McCarthy being the next head coach of the team. I can't even tell you how many things I want to say before I even get to that. I'll let Brian talk. What's up, Brian?
I think fans right now are verbally agreeing that this is just wow, sucks.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, I'm speechless. I just looked at it and I'm like, I can't believe they did not do due diligence and talk to everybody.
Yeah, that's the thing that gets me. And I want to say this first and foremost is that this news happened a couple hours ago. And I even said to Dave and Brian in our way we communicate on our Slack channel, I was like, I don't want to do a podcast yet. I want to see if this could be like a Russ Grimm situation, which if you remember 2007, everyone thought Russ Grimm was going to get the job. He was telling people that he was getting the job. And then he didn't have the job. Mike Tomlin gets hired. It was like a late interview. And so for me, I appreciated the fact in 2007 that they interviewed everyone. They let everything kind of run its course. I don't understand why they had to make this decision now, based on the fact that if Mike McCarthy was your guy, he was only tabbed with one other team in terms of interviews, and that was the Tennessee Titans. They hired their guy. They have Robert Saleh as their head coach, already named him. No one else wanted Mike McCarthy. Why would it hurt to wait, interview Nate Scheelhaase, interview maybe Clint Kubiak, Nick Shula, all those people, or is it Chris Shula? I don't know what the hell his name is anyways. But anyways, you understand what I'm saying? I don't get why they would have just gone and just done this right now. It makes zero sense to me. It feels like I don't know. Now that I say it a lot, I want to say it feels like a knee-jerk reaction. No, it feels like this was predestined. I don't know, Brian. What's your take on that?
Yeah, it's be careful what you ask for. How many fans right now are like, I'd rather have Mike Tomlin back? You know, I mean, at this point, it's, we always talked about, who's the next guy going to be, and you got to be happy with who the next guy is going to be. I think it's funny, though, because fans like 3 or 4 years ago were clamoring for Mike McCarthy. They saw what happened in Dallas, and they aren't now. In fact, I thought it was a bad pick when Dallas made it. And it just didn't work out. I mean, he did some good things with Dak for maybe a year, but I don't know. This just seems like a very safe move.
Well, and let me say this. If this is all about Aaron Rodgers bringing him back next year, it's even worse. It makes it even worse. Because if they would have waited and they went through the interviewing everyone and they brought in the Shula, the Scheelhaase, the Kubiaks, all these people in-house, in-person interviews, and they said, you know what? After we interviewed everyone, we think that Mike McCarthy is the best fit for this team. Okay, I would have probably said I don't like it. I wish they would have gone in a different direction, someone younger. But at the same time, I'm like, I can't say that I approve of anything that has happened so far in this hiring. And I do want to say this. For all the people out there that are like, Art Rooney II needs to sell the team, this has Omar Khan's fingerprints all over it as well. Because on over Wednesday ago, it was Art Rooney II was up in front of the media and said, Omar and I are going to handle this hiring. Well, then that tells you that he deserves some of this quote unquote blame also. So I don't know. There's so many different things. There's so many different ways that could go, Brian. What else is on your mind?
Of course, I'll leave what I'm going to say next for my final thoughts.
Sure.
But this to me seems like a team that feels more comfortable going maybe 10-7 at best and not looking for the discomfort of what a rebuild would be. I think that that must scare Art Rooney II more than anything, having to go through a couple years of doldrums to get back up. Because remember, they didn't really have to do it when they turned the keys over to Bill Cowher, because what was supposed to be a rebuild was a shocker and a surprise and pretty darn good. Yeah. Then they did it with Mike Tomlin, and a lot of people thought that, well, they just had a Super Bowl team 2 years ago. Maybe they can go ahead and go forward. Now, I didn't say 10-7. I said 10-7 at best. So save your LOL. And everybody that's saying that they're going 5-12, let's save that too, because everybody thinks they're going 5-12 every single year. But I think what's happened here is the Steelers use the crutch of what the definition of a winning season is. I think the definition of winning season should definitely be changed, because there's nothing winning about 9-8. I think a winning season to me is winning at least one playoff game. That should be what the new winning season should be. But we got caught up all of this junk that was, 9-8 and a non-losing season streak and all of that. But I think you can't have a streak if you're 8-8, in which they were back then as well. So yeah, I'm kind of disillusioned with all of this. Like, I know everybody else is, but I don't think this is a 5-12 team. I think this is designed now to be a 9-8, and like I said, at best 10-7, but they'd have a lot of work to get there.
All right, I want to take a quick sidebar, and I want to say that Kevin Smith, who is on, he does a show with me, he does a show with Brian, does great work for SteelCurtainNetwork.com. We have on our Slack channel, which is an online communication device. It's an app for your phone and stuff. He put this in the breaking news channel. I'm going to read what Kevin wrote. He's going to have an article that's going to come out tomorrow, Sunday, about this. Here's what Kevin wrote. His words, not mine. Here's what I hope this is about. McCarthy is a bridge to the next franchise head coach. What if the Steelers love Shieldhouse but worry that he's not ready to be a head coach? Instead, they bring him on as an offensive coordinator with McCarthy as a mentor, showing Shieldhouse the head coaching ropes while Shieldhouse gains the experience he needs to take over. Having McCarthy as head coach, Shieldhouse's OC, and a proven DC like Raheem Morris would be a pretty good trio, with the potential of Shieldhouse moving into the head coaching position in a few years. It's a gamble, since Shieldhouse could land a head coaching job with the Browns or Raiders, but if that's the plan, I'm on board. If the OC and DC are not rising stars with little chance of becoming head coach at some point, this makes no sense. And that's all for Coach Kevin Smith's thoughts. But I think I still want to see how this plays out. If they were to somehow, some way get Shieldhouse to come in as the offensive coordinator, okay, maybe we see something of what they're doing. Fans that would want an offensive coach, Mike McCarthy is an offensive coach. I don't know if I would call him like an up and coming offensive mind or anything like that, but I don't know. What do you think about what Coach Kevin Smith thought there, Brian?
I agree with it 100%, but the young guy is not going to be Shieldhouse. I have a better chance of being named People Magazine's sexiest man alive than Shieldhouse for coming here. She's not coming. I guarantee it. And here's why. You're not going to see him here. I mean, even though the Browns are talking about him, right now, Clint Kubiak pulled his name away from Pittsburgh, even though he'd never interviewed here, and the Raiders, and I think everywhere else. I think he wants to stick around. From what I just read maybe about an hour ago, which means moving up to number one on the Raiders wish list is Mike LaFleur, the offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams. If Shieldhouse doesn't get a job, he moves right into the OC position with the Rams, with Sean McVay, with a chance to win a Super Bowl possibly every single year. So that's what it's looking like. This is looking like I think everybody over the past years that said that thought that Mike Tomlin was bossing Art Rooney around, we knew that a couple years ago. Art Rooney is the architect. And what he's doing is he's building Arby's from the 1960s for a 2025 world.
Yeah. All right. I want to take a quick break. We're going to answer some questions here in a second and have some fan interaction for sure. But I want to take a quick break. If you're watching live, we're not going anywhere. If you're listening on audio, we'll be right back after this break. All right. We are back, and I appreciate everyone's patience. Brian, I want to ask you a question because I thought about this. I was explaining to my daughters why I'm not ecstatic with the hiring of Mike McCarthy. They don't know who Mike McCarthy is. If he was in a lineup, they wouldn't be able to pick him out. But I was trying to explain, I said, the fan confidence in the organization, in my opinion, is at an all-time low. I think this started with Matt Canada and has bled all the way now to this hire. And let's just say that for whatever reason, Mike McCarthy doesn't get a Nate Fieldhouse. He gets an Arthur Smith to be the OC and defensive coordinator. I mean, if he were to do something like that, Brian, I guess there is a way, as I say it out loud, for this to be even lower in terms of fan confidence. Can you recall a time in the modern era where the fan trust and confidence in the organization has ever been this low?
No. Even back in 85 and 86, when that was the worst 2-year stretch in Pittsburgh Steelers history, it wasn't this bad because people knew they were coming off the 1970s Steelers. People knew that things would have to turn around. And, even when you had Mark Malone and Bubby, people still watched. People came in droves, So I'm just going to go ahead and say that I don't really think that the fan confidence was down because they still believed back then. It's down now. And it's also down because we live in an internet world and it's so easy to get information. You didn't have the information back then. You didn't have the information 20 years ago that we have now. We have instant gratification, so I'm just going to say with technology and everything, with everything that we know, this is, everybody is upset.
Pittsburgh fans. Okay. So again, let's take a step back. I am a Pittsburgh fan. I like the Pirates, the Penguins, and the Steelers. Not everyone is a Pittsburgh fan. Brian is a Pittsburgh fan. Dave, for the most part, is a Pittsburgh fan. He doesn't really follow the Pirates, but still, that's tough. Pittsburgh fans have become very vocal. And that's been evident at PNC Park, where the sell the team chants. It was evident in the Canada era with the Fire Canada chants. That stemmed all the way to the Pat McAfee show and College Game Day, and then the Fire Tomlin chants and all that. They have become very, very vocal. I think the only team that doesn't get these type of chants are the Penguins because, well, they have a consistency there for success, I guess, even though they've struggled the last 5 or so years. But, man, I tell you what, Brian, I'm thinking about the draft. I'm thinking about it being in Pittsburgh, and I'm wondering what the fan response is going to be like. What do you think?
They'll still be there.
Oh, they'll be there.
I know that, but I'm there's a few people threatening to quit right now.
Oh, no, yeah. I just think they're going to be vocal. I think they're going to boo.
They're going to, how they boo Goodell?
Yeah.
They're going to boo Art Rooney II.
You think Art Rooney even gets up on stage?
He's clueless. Yeah. Yeah. I'm starting to think that he is just let me give you who I think Art Rooney II is. If you're a fan of this, not Christmas Vacation, if you're a fan of the movie National Lampoon's Vacation, they get to Wally World. John Candy greets them there, and then they call Mr. Roy Wally comes in, and he's just this clueless, nice old man. And I think that's what Art Rooney is. He's absolutely living in the past. And I think right now it's just it doesn't matter to him what the fan base thinks. It matters to him more of doing enough to be in contention. And that's it. He doesn't think this is going to turn in. But here's another thing, though. An absolute another thing that I want to talk about here is everybody was clamoring for offense. In Art's mind, he said, all right, I got you offense. What do you want?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I think ultimately, when you think about the Steelers, and I can only speak for myself, I was prepared. I've said it on multiple podcasts. I was prepared for that one season where things were rough. You know, I said it to Kevin Smith on Friday's Let's Ride podcast. I was prepared for Mason Rudolph, Will Howard, and re-sign Skylar Thompson to be the quarterback room. And he said that would be awful. Yeah, it would be. But I'm not paying top dollar for a free agent quarterback. There's no use drafting one in this draft unless it's Fernando Mendoza. And so you suck it up. And we suck. We have crappy quarterback play. What else is new? We've dealt with Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett, for crying out loud. I'd rather sign Justin Fields as a free agent and have him come back and try it out, whatever. And then they do this, and it's like they are going to have to really ace the coordinators. They're going to have to ace what the direction of this team is. And they're going to have to do a ton of convincing for me to feel like I trust the plan. Because go back a year, Brian. Remember when we were excited about Omar Khan's plan? They're getting rid of the free agents are walking. We're going to get comp picks. They did. They got 4 extra picks, a third, a fourth, and 2 sixths. Okay, sweet. Signing all these guys to 1-year deals. They're going to be off the books. We'll have salary cap space. Okay, we can see what the plan is. And then, boy, does this, in my opinion, throw a giant wrench into that plan. And it's brutal. Absolute gut punch.
Yeah, I just don't get it. Somebody put on, it's gone way past. Somebody put on Fear to Evolve, and I almost feel like that is right on. I like that. Somebody else put on, I believe his last name was Mantle. I can't find it now because it's gone too fast. People are pouring in their opinions here. And he said Art Rooney too. He did better than I did. Equals Fredo Corleone, Godfather. And yeah. I'm thinking, whoa, that's absolutely perfect. There's nothing not to like about the human being. It's just like he can't run a football team. And he's making the decisions. And I think his thing is to just make sure it doesn't collapse. So
right. Yeah, go ahead.
You're gonna get some kind of wins. I mean, they're going to be in contention next year for a little bit, but this is not the get you over the hump hire.
This is the run it back hire.
Yeah.
This is the Cam will stay another year. This is TJ will be happy. This is we will try and coax Aaron Rodgers back at age 42 to be 43 next December. That's what this is. That's exactly what this is. And that is what it is. All right, let's get some super chats here. Let's do some super chats. Steeler fan 69 gives us $5. Says cheap ass owner, just like the Pirates. You know I am pissed if I'm not laying down a dad joke. You're right. Steeler fan 69 is pissed. He's not doing a joke. Thank you for the tip. Kyle gives us $5. Says this franchise will remain fossilized until Art II is gone. This is the definition of insanity. I think that's a common thread here based on the fact that they have a type. It's not necessarily a defensive mind, even though the last 3 coaches have been of the defensive orientation. It's that they've been younger. It's that they're looking to the future. You're looking at a guy that can stick around for a while. Mike McCarthy is 62 years old already. It's the antithesis of what we're used to seeing. And then Claude Bishop gives us $2, says McCarthy isn't my choice, but still an upgrade. Ooh, Brian, you agree with that?
I think it's stay the course.
Yeah.
You might have a little more offensive attempted offensive creativity here, but I think it's an old and antiquated system.
I'll have more of my thoughts definitely on Let's Ride for Monday. This is just kind of, it's still fresh. Like the Band-Aid was just ripped off, everyone. But I'll say this, I should have seen this coming, Brian. I honest to God should have seen it coming. I was in our bedroom. I've been folding laundry, and I'm watching a clip of the Rich Eisen show with Tom Pelissero on there, and he was doing some major lifting for Mike McCarthy. I am talking about, for over 10 minutes, this segment that I caught on Twitter, he's talking about his playoff record. He's talking about his winning percentage, his success with young quarterbacks, his ability to bring, and I'm sitting there the whole time thinking, well, and he makes a good case. Tom Pelissero would be a fantastic lawyer. He could represent anyone and make him look good. And I should have known at that time, when you started to see all this stuff come out, they are starting to pump this guy up. This is how it works. It's how it works. And now all of a sudden you already see there's people like Albert Breer, Sports Illustrated. Oh, I'm curious to see what he can do with Will Howard. What are we talking about? I don't get it. I don't know. Should have known, Brian. I should have known. Should have trusted my gut.
Yeah, I tell you, buddy, I'm flabbergasted. I thought that this was, hey, let's see what he got. So let's see what he came in with in his interview. But I mean, maybe, hey, old guy from the neighborhood, let's bring him in and see what he knows, and maybe say, hey, would you? We're bringing in a young guy. Would you like to be? Would you like to be the OC for him? You never. I would have accepted that, I guess. But this, it's. I hope we're all eating our words.
I hope so too. And I'm fine. If people want to cut this up and put it on social media, feel free. But I'll say, the last thing I'm going to say is, man, I just still can't get over the fact that they didn't even have the two Rams coaches that they were interested in, that they had a request in and did a virtual interview. They didn't even have them in for an in-person meeting. They didn't even have that meeting. So, and everything that we were hearing, I know you heard it, I heard it, said that they love Shula, that they were looking at him to be the guy, and that he could potentially bring some people in with him. And then this, what is going on? There's something amiss though, Brian. Do you feel that too?
Yeah. There's something just not right here, and I don't get it. I'd love to be behind that curtain right now and find out what exactly is going on, because this just does. You know what this seems like? This seems like Rachel Phelps of the 1989 Cleveland Indians that wants to lose. But this is different. He just doesn't want to advance.
Yeah. This guy here is dead. Cross him off the list then.
Cross him up.
Oh, we have some more super chats. Tyler W gives us $4.99. It's a devil's advocate. They weren't a bright young defensive coordinator away like in 2008. They need someone who can draft and develop a quarterback. If he can do that, Godspeed. Can he do that? Does he have a track record of doing that? Was it Mike McCarthy that drafted Aaron Rodgers? I'm literally asking that question.
I don't think. I think Holmgren was still there. No, Holmgren was not still there because he was in Seattle. Did he follow Holmgren? Was he the guy in 2005? I don't think so. No, I think he was hired because he was hired during the Aaron Rodgers era, I believe.
I will find out that answer.
I know he was there in 2010, of course.
Okay. I'll find it. Let's go to our buddy Marky D from Down Under. Gives us $5 dingo dollars. Said Yinzers are so mad. 3 words. She'll be right. I hope you're right. I'm assuming that's Australian for like it's going to work out.
Yes.
But at the same time, I hope you're right. I hope so. Let's go to Shane Giggles. Gives us $2. Rumor I hear others wanted full staff and amenities. So other coaches said, if I come in, I want to bring in my whole staff, and I want to do. If that's it, fire someone into the sun is what I'm saying.
Wow. Andrew Wilbar is saying McCarthy was hired in 2006. So with that, I would probably say that he didn't draft him, but he may have developed him.
I'm sure the development part is for sure. And then Jerry Dulac of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette said on Twitter recently, the hiring of Mike McCarthy, quote, has nothing to do, end quote, with the possibility of bringing back Aaron Rodgers for 2026 per his sources. Take that with a gigantic grain of salt. But he's worked with a lot of good quarterbacks, even going back to the end of Joe Montana era in Kansas City. He was there. Green Bay was the quarterback coach in 99, worked with Brett Favre, was the OC in New Orleans from 2000 to 2004, San Francisco offensive coordinator in 2005. Who was the quarterback of the 49ers in 2005? Is that the Jeff Garcia?
That's when they drafted first overall Alex Smith.
Oh, okay. All right. Green Bay, 2006 to 2018. Dallas from 2020 to 2024. And then Pittsburgh Steelers to 2026. Present.
5 years in Dallas? Wow.
2020 to 2024. That's according to Wikipedia. Take that with a grain of salt. All right, here we go. Let's go to the next super chat. $4.99 from Coco Ball 1. Hate it. Devil's advocate, though. What if it turns out better to not be locked in for years to a head coach from this cycle and we can find a better coach in 3 to 5? I'm just going to say this in regards to your comment. This sounds eerily like what everyone said about the 2026 quarterback crop. It's going to be better. Just wait till 2026. Now, what are they saying? Oh, they all went back to college. We'll wait till 2027. Brian, it's going to be better in 2027. And then they find another year of eligibility and get paid $10 million in NIL money to come back. You can't guarantee it's going to be better. But, hey, devil's advocate, it may be okay. But right now, if I were to say that, I've said this before on our podcast, I would feel like Kevin Bacon in Animal House when all hell's breaking loose and he's there saying, all is well, remain calm. And you just can't. You can't.
You know, Jeff, I wanted Stefanski at first, and I would have been much happier with Kevin Stefanski. I don't think anybody would have complained about that. I would have been happy with Robert Saleh at this point.
If you're going to dabble in the guys that have already been head coaches, yeah, I would have been okay with any of those guys.
So, I mean, I'm picking the next wide receiver room. Jordy Nelson will be there. We'll have Randall Cobb.
Oh yeah,
coming to town.
Bring MVS back. Sure, let's get the band together.
And then Eddie Lacy. He might be very large at this point, but we'll bring in Eddie Lacy.
He might resemble Yokozuna more than a running back. All right, it's going to Give Me Thunder. Gives us $5. Says maybe they just brought him in to quote unquote just take a look or kick the tires, but he blew them away with his vision or ideas, looking for silver linings. Yeah, there's a possibility that he comes in and I honestly I can't wait until the press conference, which I would assume might be Monday or Tuesday, because it's going to be, gosh, Tim Benz in and of himself of TribLive.com. And maybe they did this because some of the media are down at the Senior Bowl. Oh, wouldn't that be something?
Whoa, yeah.
Because I was going to have Chris Carter on my podcast on Monday, and his schedule got all changed because of the storm hitting the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic. And so I don't think it's going to work out this week. But, man, I think about it, like if they do the interview when all those media members are not in Pittsburgh, the plot thickens, Brian.
Yeah,
Definitely.
You know what? Knowing the Steelers, they'll do the press conference in the middle of the storm tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I don't know why nobody showed up.
Mike McCarthy will meet with the media when it's dropping 1 to 2 inches an hour on Sunday.
I mean, that's like, we'll show them loophole.
If you're not at the Senior Bowl, good luck getting to the facility. Oh my gosh. Okay. I want to open it up to people in the live chat that might have a question. Everyone has comments. We don't need those. If you have a question, Brian's still going to do a Q&A. Not today. I think you should do it tomorrow, Brian. Let things.
Okay. You want me to wait on it?
This will count for today. If you have questions though, and you want us to give our take, fire away. If not, that's fine. We'll wrap it up shortly. But I wanted to give people an opportunity if they have a question about things. And I want to reiterate while we're waiting, if the Steelers can get good coordinators to come in, I will be more okay with this move. But if Arthur Smith and like Terrell Austin are those guys, I can't agree less with what they would do. Let's get this on the screen here. Alfie gives us $4.99, says no young guy wants to coach here. Who wants to step into this situation? No quarterback, crap facilities, can't hire big staff, let alone Phil Tomlin's shoes. You're right. You're absolutely right. It would be a tough place to put it mildly. It'd be a tough place. All right, so here we go. Tyler W. We'll put this up on the screen. What's your idea of a successful OC and DC hire? Let's talk names. What do you think, Brian?
Well, I have been pounding the table for Raheem Morris.
And that's still a viable option.
And so, yeah, that's a possibility. And I don't know who all McCarthy has had around him in Dallas. You might want to go ahead and look at that just to see who he has ties to.
Yeah.
But I would think that if you do that, then you bring it's been thrown around in here. I don't think it's Shieldhouse, but maybe a young OC to groom.
Well, if Shieldhouse, if Kubiak doesn't leave the Rams, so like you suggested, if he doesn't, or LaFleur, I'm sorry, if he doesn't leave the Rams, Shieldhouse might say, I've got a chance to call plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then it might become an attractive position.
Yeah.
So there's a pot. That's my name for OC. If I'm being honest, DC, would Anthony Weaver be a guy that might want to come up and have a lateral move from Miami to Pittsburgh? I got to think the roster's better, isn't it? Than in Miami.
Yeah. Well, he's a free agent, isn't he?
Well, it's a new coaching staff down there, and it's defensive minded. So yeah, I would see if Anthony Weaver's interested in being a DC, because I saw some bits and pieces about him. I like that guy.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily want him as a head coach, but I like that guy.
No. Yeah. I mean, I would get an experienced defensive coordinator and a young passing coordinator / a young type guy who is ready to jump into that OC position.
Yeah.
And bring him in here. So this is the point where, I mean, you go through the Steeler fans have gone through the 5 phases of the grieving process in just the last couple hours.
Last 32 minutes.
So, yeah. So this is almost the point when, and this is what I was saving for my final thoughts. I'll just say it now. I think the acceptance phase has got to start soon, because there's no turning back. And now when I go on an airplane, I trust the guy who's flying the plane.
You're right.
So now Mike McCarthy is my head coach.
Yeah.
And I'm not happy about it, but he's my head coach. And now it's time for acceptance for me and to say, all right, Godspeed and do well.
Yeah. Steeler Chick 46 says, will we try to develop Howard? Will Howard? You absolutely should. Whether people think that the kid's crap or not, you got a guy. Hey, we spent a 6th-round pick on this kid. If he doesn't turn out, it doesn't turn out. If he's just a backup career-wise, that's fine. You have to try and develop him. You would be foolish not to. And if Mike McCarthy's that guy, sure. Christopher says, who would you like for your DC and starting quarterback? I said it already. I would be cool with Howard, Rudolph, and Thompson as my trio. But at the same time, if Justin Fields gets cut from the Jets, which I'm assuming he will, and he wants to come back here for a cheap deal, the hell, who cares? Let's do it at this point.
Get ready for your number 4 jersey. Dak's coming to Pittsburgh.
Oh my God. Probably your Aaron Rodgers might be good for another year. I'll put it that way. Let's go to, do you guys think Mike McCarthy will be calling offensive plays? Didn't he do that in Dallas? He has called offensive plays in multiple spots. So yeah, if you bring in, let's just continue down this path of a Shieldhouse type, and he's the OC, it might be Mike McCarthy calling the plays until the young man figures things out. We'll see. Let's hear. Are the Steelers so undesirable that they feel they can't get a good young coach? I don't know if it's that so much. Do you, Brian?
Yeah, I think that we are making excuses for why this is happening, because even though some people have been pulling out of the Cleveland job, somebody's taken that job and saying, hey, I'll make it work. Because these guys, anybody that is going to be a head coach doesn't look at, if you're a winner, or if you're, let's not even say winner, if you're a competitive minded person, you're going to go into a situation saying, I'm going to make this work. I know my plan will work. whether it does or not, somebody's taking that job. I don't think anybody's coming out and saying that we're guessing that it's the facilities. We're guessing that it's the full coaching thing. The Raiders did not think Jeff Minter was the best. Jesse Minter was the best guy to go with. They thought he was very good, but he failed a question on who he was bringing in with their coaches. They didn't seem to like it. So they liked other people on the list, and they said, hey, let him go. So Raiders fans are right now thinking, oh, we missed out on Jesse Minter, and they're saying, no, we didn't miss out. We have a list of who we want. So I think it goes down to the fact that they're done waiting. They want to go ahead, and maybe they just want to get this thing started, and they don't want to wait to see what happens tomorrow night. There's a very good chance the Rams lose tomorrow night, because they're going up against a very good team in Seattle. I think the Rams are very good, though. So anyways, maybe the list of what they're looking for is great. There might be, you ever hear, I don't want to use that. I'll probably get in trouble. But you might hear some guys be at a bar. They look across the room and they're looking around and saying, oh, I want the hot one there. I want the hot one there. Me, I'm like, I want the full figure girl over there. Because she's pretty in the face and has a great personality, and she's more for me, and I like that. And I was like that when I was 130 pounds. It's just like that. Everybody has a different thing that they like.
Yeah. I do want to bring this up. Jerry Dulac says that obviously they're agreeing with the Mike McCarthy, but specifies a 5-year deal. So that's interesting that's being reported, a 5-year deal. Goodness gracious. Yikes. Anyways, let's keep with the questions here. We'll do a couple more. Dean on Facebook says, do you think it's the ownership that's our biggest problem? Cheap players on the roster? I'll tell you what I think. I don't think it's necessarily the cheap aspect of it. I think that this is an owner and an organization that absolutely feel as if, and I've said this before, that there are certain things that, and I'll say this carefully, that they kind of got off on. They love the 3 coaches since 69 thing. They love that they never had a losing season. I think it's an owner that's scared to death of breaking some of those streaks. I mean, think about it. They haven't had a losing season since 2003. And he's scared to death that this team could break that streak, even though that might be what they need.
And here's the thing with the Steelers ownership right now. They want more than anything to have a guy tied to Pittsburgh.
Oh,
they really, am I right? They really like the fact that he has Pittsburgh ties.
Yeah.
And sometimes you've got to go outside of the Berg.
Unbelievable. Okay, let's continue on, shall we? Alfie says Raheem Morris defenses are middle of the pack. Can someone actually point to a season he finished top 5 overall, top 10? I don't know.
Wait, was that Raheem Morris?
Yes, his defenses, because you brought up his name for.
Yeah,
I'm not super keen on that.
I don't know for a fact, but I know he was there when the Rams won the Super Bowl, I believe. And that was a very, of course he coached Aaron Donald, but they had a suffocating defense back then. I'll go ahead and do some research on that. Where's Dave when you need him?
Yeah, seriously. Ray Fittipaldo puts on Twitter, it'll be interesting to see how Mike McCarthy puts his staff together. Scott McCurley coached with him in Green Bay. He was with the Steelers as linebackers coach last year. I think he actually went from Green Bay to Dallas with McCarthy and then stayed in Dallas. But he was the inside linebacker coach last year, so it's assuming that he'll probably stay. He said McCarthy had a staff with lots of Pittsburgh and Steelers ties with the Packers, but not so much with the Cowboys. Dom Capers is still coaching in the NFL at 75. He was Green Bay's DC in 2010 when the Packers beat the Steelers in the Super Bowl. Are they going to call up Dom Capers? If that's the case, just get Dick LeBeau to come back. I mean, what the hell are we doing? What are we talking about?
This isn't Cocoon.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's go to Steeler Fan 69, $5 to change my mind. Here's his joke. A man walks into a psychiatrist's office wearing nothing but saran wrap. The psychiatrist says, well, I can clearly see your nuts. That's still funny. I've heard that joke before, but it's still funny.
That's great. I've never heard it. That's great.
You've never seen that one?
No.
And then here we go. Easy Rollins gives us $2. You want a losing season. You can't be a Steeler fan. I don't think anyone wants a losing season. I was willing to understand if it happened, why it happened. And I'm not saying that you're talking to me. I'm just speaking for myself. That I had come to terms that this was part of the process. And for this team to be a viable contender, which I don't think they have a roster that is a viable contender, then that is what would need to happen. But I don't know. So, all right. Well, people got to remember too, this was not Mike McCarthy did not coach in Dallas. So I know Mark Tobin said Dallas was very bad last year. So I don't know if that's a good sign having Pittsburgh guys. It doesn't tie together. So we are going to see how this plays out. We are so, it's tough to see the woods through the trees, the forest through the trees is what the saying is. But Brian, I'll let you do some final thoughts. You have anything else? I know you talked about it a little bit earlier.
I'm just going to go back to I know it's really fast. The body's not cold yet, but let's just go ahead and say I got to jump into acceptance mode and I want to go start looking into who could be. Let's see who the coordinators are going to be next. Maybe there's a silver lining there, or maybe just the fact that we are talking about how this was a great hire 3 years ago, and I'll be glad to say that I'm wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll say this. You said several times there in your final thoughts, you said, let's see. That's all we can do. We're just fans of the team. We have no say. We have no pull in all this. So absolutely, let's see what happens. But I can't stress enough how disappointing this is. I can't stress how this absolutely feels like a kick square into the marbles. If we're quoting Major League again, that's what it feels like. I've been walking around like, I feel like I'm going to be sick. Is this really happening? It is. This is real life.
Your quotes on our channel were great. I was laughing.
My quotes? Which quotes?
Oh, no, maybe it was on Twitter. On X, you said something. I think I'm going to be sick.
Yeah, I'm going to be sick. Then I also say, how could it get worse? We're on the threshold of hell, Helen. How could it ever get worse? To quote,
my son was saying, Mike McCarthy, they should have just done what the Bills are doing and bring in Phillip Rivers.
Oh, gosh. All right. This has been a good show. Brian will be back tomorrow. We'll let the body cool down a little bit, and he'll do a Q&A tomorrow. So we'll have another live show for you tomorrow.
And I'm going to be Glaff's half full.
Okay. You're getting optimist Brian tomorrow. So for all you pessimists out there, join the live chat and bring him down to earth. That's what you got to do. All right, Brian, thank you for your time. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time.
Steel Curtain Network. Get it.
Everybody else gets a little tight.